Barb, Meeple PhD, with another Cosmic Game Connection. This time I'm bringing you actually an older finding, but something that I just found and that captured my attention. So I found this article that was talking about how one of the caves at Lascaux, where all of those wonderful ancient cave paintings have been found, one of the caves might actually be a depiction of the ancient sky, a kind of ancient planetarium. Now, before I continue, I want to give just a little disclaimer that I am not trained as an archaeologist or archaeoastronomer. I did look into a lot of different articles, and this is really up to debate. However, it captured my imagination, and I really enjoyed looking into it, and I thought you might enjoy this as well. So the one paper I looked at was talking in particular about a cave known as the Well. In this cave, there's a depiction of a man with a bison whose entrails seem to be coming out, a bird stick, and a woolly mammoth. The man has only 4 fingers, and the author likened this to a bird. I found this elsewhere as well. And apparently birds are fairly important. If you're thinking about how ancient folks might have seen the importance of the stars in mapping where they are during different seasons so that they knew when to prepare for winter or when to plant for their summer crops, that sort of thing, then the birds can become very important because they were the one animal who could transcend. They could go from the earth into the cosmos. And that is one reason that this author has proposed, not only that this is a bird-man flying in the cosmos, but also there's this bird stick there, and why he has kind of connected this to shamanism and the idea of the importance of the stars in the night sky. So it's not just interpreting the pictures themselves, though. He also looked at the angles involved in, say, the man himself and the bird stick. And what he found is that the bird stick points to the celestial North Pole above Lascaux. And he then identifies some of the stars that could correspond to the eyes of the man, the bird stick, and the bison, and identifies what could be something similar to the summer triangle that we see today, that would have orbited the North Celestial Pole and maybe pointed out features that helped this shaman determine some of those important events. Further, he looked and found some stars that would correspond to perhaps this woolly rhino and the bison in the sky, and interpreted these as maybe the spirit helpers of the shaman as he travels throughout the sky into the cosmos on his journey to help his people. And this is where he gets the idea that this could be kind of a planetarium, depicting different constellations in the night sky. This is but one of many interpretations of the paintings in the well in the cave of Lascaux. It could just be depicting a hunting scene, of course. However, it takes my breath away when I think about our ancient ancestors looking at the same night sky that we see and trying to puzzle out meaning and how it relates to their day-to-day lives in a similar way that we look up at the stars and try to understand them as well. When I thought about these ancient artists, possibly depicting a journey into the cosmos in their paintings at Lascaux, the game that came to mind was Paleo. Paleo is a cooperative, card-driven exploration game where players are working together to keep their groups of Stone Age humans alive long enough to complete a cave painting, which will unite their tribe. The game is set up with the boards, the graveyard, and the workbench placed in the middle of the table, and the tokens placed nearby where everyone can reach them. Players then decide which modules they would like to play, and grab the associated mission cards and place those on the home deck, and shuffle all of the rest of the cards into the appropriate decks. Players each take 2 cards off of the people deck, which forms their starting group. Finally, the players get 5 starting food tokens, and they're ready to begin. The game is played in rounds, each of which has a day phase and a night phase. At the beginning of the day phase, the location deck is shuffled and dealt out as evenly as possible to all of the players to form a deck in front of them. On their turn, the player will look at the backs of the top 3 cards in their deck and choose which one to face that turn. The other 2 go back on top of the deck in whatever order they choose. Once everyone has chosen a location, they're all revealed and then resolved in whatever order you would like. Some of the locations are places to get resources, which will help you out in building tools and facing dangers later on. Others represent hunts, where you're getting food for the tribe. And of course, there are danger cards that can harm you. And in fact, each of the humans has a set number of hearts that they can take. And if they take too many, they will die and go to the graveyard and earn your team a skull. Many of the cards have a helper symbol where you don't have to face that location, but you can go and help someone else at one of their locations. And in that way, you can pool your resources and get more food and resources for your entire tribe. This continues until either the cards have run out of everyone's decks or people pass early out of the round and go to bed early. At that point, you enter the night phase. The first thing you have to do is feed all of your people. For anyone you don't feed, you get a skull. And then you look at the different missions for your particular modules and fulfill or don't fulfill those. And again, if you don't fulfill those, you get another skull for your tribe. Then you shuffle up the locations again and start again with another day phase. This continues until either you have accumulated 5 skulls and you all lose, or you complete the mammoth painting and everybody wins. And of course, it is that mammoth painting that had me thinking about the cave paintings at Lascaux and the possible planetarium in one of those caves. So the next time you find yourself completing part of the cave painting in Paleo, take just 1 second to think about how you might capture the night sky in order to share it with future generations. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions about the science or the game, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Or if this made you think of a different game, let me know that too. I'd love to hear that. I'll be back again with another Cosmic Game Connection. In the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter as @MeeplePhD, and you can follow my blog at meeplephd.com. Paleo is a cooperative, card-driven exploration game where players are working together to keep their Stone Age human groups